It's Monday and time for the Back to Business podcast, featuring Calgary's industry leaders. Welcome today's show host, Kim Hayden.
Our next guest is all about loyalty and value. And I think these are things that we all need to think about when we're building business. Laureen Regan is here to share with us her journey at Boom Group. Plus, we're going to throw in a little bit of Irish insight. But first, our land acknowledgement.
In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Ga'aina, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the E'ahe Nakota Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta.
Alrighty, welcome to the show, Laureen. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. I'm actually a McFadden. I am of Irish descent myself, and
You and 500,000 other Albertans. Actually, I heard it's much higher than that now. So there's a lot of you in this province, for sure.
Absolutely, and I still have all the great sayings. In fact, one of my very favorite people that I worked with was Daniel Kelly, and he was from Ireland. He's one of our videographers. So before we dive into Boom, which, by the way, great name, power name to it.
Thank you.
I'd like to get to know a little bit more about Laureen, because you've got kind of a cool, you are definitely the hustle economy. Like, you've got several things going on in different verticals, and I just found out another one. So tell me all about Laureen.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you again for having me. It's a great privilege to be able to be here and chat with you. I'm really excited. So to start from the beginning, really was born in Ireland, as you alluded to in the beginning, was born in Ireland, and my mom was an entrepreneur at the time, had her own business, and decided to come to Canada. So she sold her business, and we literally got on a ship and came to Canada. We landed in Montreal and then or Quebec and then Montreal, and then ended up taking the train across to Edmonton. And Edmonton is where we put down our foundation for the first couple of years. And then we started to move. So I moved every year for the first 6 grades. And then grades 7 and 8 was one class. And then grade 8, 9 was another. So moved all the time. And I think that all of that moving laid down the foundation for the ability to be an entrepreneur, to be able to do my own business, because there are so many traits that align with that.
Absolutely. And your mom was an entrepreneur, and that's unique, because when we go back in the Wayback Machine, that wasn't a common thing.
It wasn't. And she did some great marketing initiatives. She had a salon. She had 13 stylists. She was in a wonderful little village called Dalkey, which is just south of Dublin. And the train goes from Dalkey, well, south of Dalkey, but from Dalkey to Dublin city centre. And so she would actually open at 6:30 in the morning to get the ladies on their way into work in the morning. And she would be doing their hair. So she really found some clever ways to capture that audience at the right time that worked for them.
And we've talked about, I've talked on previous podcasts about soft skills, social skills, people skills. So it sounds like you probably got that in spades.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I think maybe I did.
I think you did.
And I think it was born out of necessity. So I think when you move every year, you need to integrate quickly upon arrival. So and they were big moves. Like Whitehorse was grade 1, Edmonton was grade 2, grade 3 was Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. So big moves where you didn't have any. There wasn't a common thread from a people perspective within the school themselves. So you had to go in and figure out how to make friends, how to become part of that community. And I think, you get a strength from that, or you get to flex your courage muscle more often than maybe you'd be used to, and that carries forward with you as you move forward. You learn empathy, because if you've seen other people who maybe don't walk into a room and aren't comfortable, you've seen that look, so you know how to welcome them in. You understand the importance of roots. Roots are so important. But for me, creating those roots became something that was more making them my own, that's not associated with a physical location, but finding those roots in and around the community of Irish, in and around the community of business, and in and around the community of family and friends.
So before we dive into Boom, because I think Boom Group, we're going to have a lot to unpack because has a lot of dimensions to it. I want to talk about the community of Irish and what you're doing with the bilateral trade and the representation of Ireland here, even though you are Canadian in Canada. So I'd love to know more about that.
So thank you. The roots part for Ireland for me is very strong, and I'm absolutely honored to be Honorary Vice Consul Trade and Investment in Market. And what that means is it's creating a bilateral trade corridor between Ireland and Alberta, and finding ways to tell the story to Alberta businesses about the Irish economy, what the advantages are, et cetera, and then vice versa. So for example, in May, I'm bringing over the 4th trade mission in partnership with Calgary Economic Development. This one is, so it'll be my second one with them, of Calgary and Alberta businesses looking to expand into Ireland and the EU. So we're bringing them over at the end of the May for a series of meetings and for the Dublin Tech Summit. So that'll be very exciting.
The Dublin Tech Summit.
And Ireland and Alberta have so many similarities. Mm-hmm. You know, the first selling point on both sides would be talent. Such talent in Alberta, such talent in Ireland. Young, highly educated workforces ready to go, right? So that'd be one of the first ones. You know, another one that you can look at is the economy itself, both doing very, very well, very diverse. While they have strength in certain sectors, they've diversified in order to really grow and succeed. So there's all those different opportunities. You also have the access to larger markets. Both Alberta and Ireland have access to large markets. For Ireland, it's the EU, and for Alberta, it's of course the US and beyond. So really great strengths on both sides. But it all comes down to the people, because the foundation of that is the people are very similar in Alberta and Ireland. Friendly, outgoing, welcoming, hardworking, great attitudes. So all those great things you want to do when you think about doing business, right?
Absolutely. You totally nailed it. My very first employee in media back in 2014 was Daniel Kelly. And he was here on a work trade for a while. And I didn't understand a word he said because he said a lot. But he made the clouds move back before there was a simple app to make the clouds move. Mm-hmm. And he's so talented that to this day, 10 years later, we now work remotely with Daniel, right? So, and I think that's one of the beauties that in our post-pandemic world that has presented itself is more of us are comfortable working with top talent if it's remote, right?
Wherever they are.
Yeah.
Wherever. It's open doors from the perspective of accessing talent, for sure.
Absolutely. So when we talk about accessing talent, accessing great businesses, creating community, you've taken that to another level within Boom Group. So first share with us what Boom Group is, and then why you started Boom Group.
Okay. So Boom has been around for about 15 years. It was started far before that, though, actually out of the social club at Petro-Canada, whereby the social club people were getting calls, HR was getting calls saying from the local dry cleaner, car dealer, insurance company, come and shop with us if you're a Petro-Can employee, and we'll give you a discount or a preferred rate. Just show us your card. And that's how this whole initiative started. And so the fellow who had started it at the time said, I can't do anything more with this. I have lots going on. Are you interested? And I had another company, so I brought it into the fold and ran it alongside, as it was for quite some time. And then in 2014, we went out and we raised some funds and shifted everything to the digital side of things. So Boom Group is a member rewards platform. It's a 3-sided model. So the first side are the member companies. Member companies are employers, associations, or unions, so any of those groups that want to drive increased engagement, loyalty, acquisition, and retention within the group. So employers that are looking to add to their total rewards. Member associations that are trying to add to the value of that association and attract in members and keep them. Then on the other side of the model, we have the retailers. The retailers are looking at our group of members and saying, well, these are really high-value members. These are people that are working at some great companies. These are people that are engaged and active. How do we engage with that group? Let's be within the Boom platform so that they can tell the members about us. So that's the retailers. And the third are our members. And we're just over 72,000 right now of members.
Wow.
They're throughout Western Canada, but we certainly are strong in Alberta and growing outside of the province. So that's great. So we have lots of members across Canada, and they are highly engaged within the platform. And members get to save on everything from their home and auto insurance to flights, hotels around the world, both of those, car rentals, eyeglasses, contact lenses, skincare, clothing, footwear, you name it. There's something in there for everyone.
And I saw on your Facebook, so you have a nice Facebook page.
Thank you.
You're keeping that up and quite nicely.
Thanks.
You just had an announcement for a new partner. I want to say Sedona, but I don't know if that was correct.
Nope, that would be Sonder.
Sonder.
So
okay, so tell me
that's
about
under
that.
That would fall under the hotel category. And Sonder
Okay.
has properties around the world that you can rent. They're usually for a bit longer, 3 nights plus, and they have beautiful little suites. Stayed in one when I was in Vancouver recently. It was gorgeous, right off Denman, so nice and handy for walking everywhere. And they have gorgeous hotels around the world.
Very cool.
Including Ireland, by the way.
Including Ireland. Well, I saw the picture, and of course, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? And it's a beautiful image you have on there. It's like, ooh, this looks in the. I couldn't remember, and it's like, oh, where are you going? I want to go there.
Yeah, and we have great flight deals around the world on all of the major carriers you can imagine. So over 700 destinations worldwide. So that's a very popular category. Car rentals has always been popular. So you're renting your car when you're out on your travel excursion. You can do that at a preferred rate as a Boom member as well. So really, Boom members are getting access to these preferred rates, discounted promotions, etc., because they're a part of these organizations that are looking to drive loyalty and engagement.
I think that's the big one, is loyalty. I think a lot of us have been funneled to death on, Facebook and Instagram, and you get sucked into somebody's funnel, and it's one thing after another. And I think we went through this period of time where anything and everything on the internet, and now it's really coming back to relationships. What are some of the things that your businesses that work with you for their loyalty, for the being part of your the Boom Group, what are some of the things that they've said that they have gotten out of that relationship?
The brands or the member companies?
The member companies.
So the member companies, it's a fully managed rewards program. So the member company, from our perspective, what we're delivering to them is mobile, both Android and iOS desktop versions, so that their members can get in there. We're doing all the management of the brands. So if there was ever an issue, which is so rare, but maybe there's a new employee on the front desk of the attraction at Callaway Park, if they were in there and they don't know about Boom, that might be something. They call us, they don't call the employer, so we can help the member organization that way. We do data and analytics every month. We send reporting to them so they kind of get a sense of what the group is looking at. We are fully privacy compliant, so there's no issues with respect to what each individual is purchasing. We have no insight to that data, but we can say the group is overall looking at travel categories, most popular, or home and auto insurance, or professional services like lawyers and mortgages are in there, or they're more interested in the whole skincare category. It just depends on the group, right? So they get that everything's done right there. They don't have to have their team running out trying to sign up the local restaurant or the electronics dealer down the road. We do all of that for them. And the feedback we get is, Boom does everything for us. They are so responsive. They are quick to get our member what they need. The platform always works. Our members don't have to worry about points. They just buy and save directly. So there's none of that management going on in between. They tell us that we have a 90% renewal rate with our member companies. So they know that this is something that is value to their members. They love that there's something in there for everyone, because what you and I might be interested in will be very different. What you want, what I want, but same with the fellow over there and the one over there. Everybody wants something different. They might be remote in the field. They might be downtown in the city. So we've made sure we built something that suits everyone.
That is, just being very omnipresent, understanding where the different interests are. That would be a job in itself. But so you're serving your businesses, and then you have the members. How does somebody become a member?
To be a member, you need to be a part of one of our organizations. So we wouldn't go out and do single individual memberships. So our member companies include some of the top energy companies in this country, as you can imagine, some of the top unions and associations, we manage their rewards programs on their behalf. And the people that are within that organization are able to access the platform. How we do that varies depending on the group. We can align with their membership numbers. We can align with their employee. We do it as seamlessly as possible for the member organization. So it varies between each company, what works for them.
And do you feel that, or do you believe that Boom Group helps those membership groups grow or engage because this is a value they offer?
Mm-hmm. So again, whether you're an employer or a member organization, they're looking for ways to really drive retention. Like, how do we provide the most value for our members or employees, depending on which group you're talking about? And as you know, if you're married to somebody who has benefits, for example, I have benefits, my husband might have benefits, that's great, but do I really need a second set of benefits? So how else is the employer appealing to me? And so this is just one more tool in their toolkit. The same with associations, or if you think about an association, they might have an AGM, they might have several networking events a year, they might have a golf tournament. There's these things that they do to stay connected with their members, but then what else are they doing to stay connected in between times? And Boom provides them with that consistency throughout, whereby they know they're getting value every single day of the year, even though they're not going to the next luncheon until maybe 2 weeks from now, or the AGM isn't for another month or two. So it's really creating that longevity of value for the member.
So let's talk about value. This is something that's on everybody's mind. In the last 2 years, we've seen food prices go up, auto prices go up, everything has gone up, right? From the consumer perspective,
mm-hmm.
How can being part of Boom Group, being part of that loyalty program through their employer or through an organization like Calgary Petroleum Club, how does that impact their life?
So members can use it to save, as I've said, on a whole range of things. And what you'll hear people say are things like, I got my home and auto insurance from one of the providers in Boom, and I saved $700 a year on my home and auto insurance. I got my home and auto insurance through Boom, and I saved $500. I heard we had one fellow who he was an employer group. He saved $2,400 a year shifting his insurance. That's a lot of money to keep in your pocket because you're a part of a group. And that's just one item. Maybe you book your flight and you save $125 on that flight. That's $125 you can spend on your holiday, right? Maybe you save 15% off your car rental. Perhaps you go to Crowfoot Liquor once a week and you get your favorite bottle of wine and you get 15% off at the till at the Crowfoot Liquor till, right? So easy for something like that. Maybe you're going to save and get free shipping on something. And people sometimes shrug at free shipping, but free shipping can be $15 or $20 depending on what you're getting. And that can take the money off the bottom line too, which is great. You want to make sure that you're kind of spreading it out and using it where you can. We did a simulation for travel, and it was an $1,800 savings on travel for between hotels, car rentals, flights, the baggage that you would have to buy, right? Because you can buy luggage as well. All of those things, we added them up, and it came up to $1,800 in savings. So the savings are significant, especially when you're consistent about using it throughout the year.
Wow, $1,800. That's like what I like to travel on. That's like my entire travel budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm one of those people.
Me too.
I'm like, yeah. Okay. So you've talked about these major organizations. Mm-hmm. Can smaller business or starter businesses that are building their brand, can they come to Boom Group and be part of that? Because I would see that would be an advantage to them.
They would be very welcome to join, of course. So we do tend to look for companies that have 5 or more employees. And while the majority of our groups are large companies, 500 or more, we would definitely welcome small ones as well. And they get all the same benefits, all the same advantages.
Because it's hard for smaller companies to compete with larger companies, yes. Especially when we're looking at, medical, dental, all the benefits. How do you scale a company? Because we also know that small to medium-sized business is the financial backbone
of this country.
Yes.
So
So that is What a great way, though, to show your employees or to attract employees and keep them, by having something like that.
And small, just like large ones, even more so, I'd say, with the smaller companies. They don't have the capacity internally. Small, and think about memberships. Typically, a member organization is volunteer-based. And then if you look at small employers, small employee base, like Boom I have an extraordinary team at Boom, but it's a small team and they do lots of different things. But could they go out and build a rewards program for the rest of us? No, nobody has time for that. So this is something that is ready to go. It's fit for purpose. All they have to do is give us a call and we can get them signed up.
So when we look at business, and because this seems to be a real strong suit, is being able to see opportunity. That's what I'm hearing. I'm gathering that this is like one of your superpowers, seeing opportunity. And knowing that so many things have shifted, we have changes happening due to AI, due to financial environments and things like that. How could an employer leverage this? How do they take it to and say, oh, by the way, we've adopted this, we've brought this in.
So how do you launch it?
Yeah, how do they launch it?
So we actually, part of what we do is help the member company launch.
Oh,
and
you do that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
that's awesome.
The program won't work if all you do is put a link somewhere and think that, they will come. You have to make sure you tell your members or your employees that they have access to this. And like any marketing and communications, you have to tell them, and you have to tell them again. You have to keep telling people. So what we do as part of our journey for our member companies is create a series of tools that we provide them with for them to distribute. So when we work with a member company, it's really important we sit down and say to them, where are the places that we can stand alongside you to build awareness about this program? So there's the launch period, which is the 4 weeks. At the beginning, do you do emails? Do you have an intranet that you can post to? Do you have social media that you use, LinkedIn or an internal Facebook page for your business? I don't know what it might be because it's so different depending on who they are. Do you have an event coming up? What are the things you're doing throughout the year, starting with the first 4 weeks, that we can integrate with you on, provide you with the materials, provide you with the designed materials, provide you with the wording to help you launch? And so it starts with, the beginning of when do we want to launch, and then we work through them very closely, like we're just in the midst of the launch with Petroleum Club right now, to say, when are we going to launch it? How do we make sure everybody knows about it? Let's, do a series of different things. We're going to be running a great contest over the next 4 weeks for Petroleum Club members who do activate or register in the platform. There's 2 really great prizes that I'm not going to talk about today that you're going to see launched.
I'm done. I'm going on and
registering. It's launching this week, so stand by.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is exciting because I think that businesses, because our attention's been so fractured, right? When you think about the average person, the amount of content we're being inundated with on a daily basis. And I absolutely agree. You have to tell them and then tell them again and tell them again. The fact that you've understand that I think most businesses don't adopt new approaches, not because they don't want to, but because of just the overwhelm of how do I get it up and running? How do I keep it running? And discipline. Discipline. But you eliminate a lot of those obstacles for these businesses. You come in and you have a launch.
That's called customer care.
That's amazing.
That's what you do, right? You have to. Once the company's decided, come on, you want to drive success for them. And so we know we have great brands, all the top brands, hundreds you can imagine. We know we have great employers and great member companies. We know the members want to use it, but how do we make sure that we're helping and supporting to have all those things growing at the same time? And that's customer care. And it's connecting. So, if you think about all my entire entrepreneurial journey has been around connections and paying attention to what's going on and seeing what works for customers and listening to them and saying, oh, they need help with that. That's a pain point. We can fix that pain point for them. How do we do that? Well, we need to design social media posts for them that they can then reuse. Let's make sure they're resized. Okay, we'll do that. We need to make sure we're doing posters. They want to know about reporting. we can help them with that. Let's share the reporting with them so they can see what's happening within the platform. So, it's driven some great results from us from a renewal perspective, from emails. We have a 0.02% unsubscribe. And on that note, that's because it comes from a trusted source. And while it's powered by Boom, it is the trusted source of their employer. They know that they are getting this because they are employed by or they are a member of a particular association. So, you kind of connect them all through these different things, and it drives that value. And connection, I think, is the key to that success.
Absolutely. I mean, it's networking at a whole new level. It really is. And they say your net worth is within your network, and creating a network of recognized known names, right? And we all know the power of association, right? There's documentaries and case studies on the power of association, that when you can associate to known names, known brands, trusted brands, you can only build upon that. I mean, this is just very cool. And I think that there's more and more opportunity because there's more and more need. Does that sound about right? That there's a lot of need out there for these types of programs and loyalty-driven programs.
I think that if I were to look at the brand side of things, they're looking at, how can they get within these closed groups where they can provide value to these closed groups, and these closed groups can become their customers, their loyal repeat customers. I'd say that the world is less about the one-offs, let's just buy now and move on, and more about that longevity with a customer and being a part of that customer journey throughout. Just like we want to be with our audiences of our member companies, our members, and our brands, so do the brands want to be with the members, and so do the member companies want to be with their employees or members, right? They want to be a part of that journey for as long as possible. So this helps to drive that loyalty. And there's lots of change going on in around that space as you pointed out earlier. As technology comes in, we're always keeping our eye on what's in it for the user. How is this going to affect the user experience? Is this going to be something that benefits them? What about their privacy? How do we make sure their information is secure? We don't gather a ton of information, so that's part of their journey with us. But these are all things that we take into consideration to build that trust within all the different groups, because that trust is critical.
Trust is the biggest challenge in today's world. And to be able to align with the right brands, the right companies, and the right members is a challenge for a lot of people, and yet you've just crushed it. You've just come in, and like I said, the name Boom is awesome.
It's not just me though. Remember, I have this extraordinary team, right?
Yes, you have an extraordinary
team. They are truly fantastic, and so they really help make Boom what it is. Whether it's the development team, whether it's the graphic design, communications, operations, they all lean in to make the member company, and brand journey the best it can be.
And I like that you use the word journey, because I always use the term guest journey, member journey, and because it's counting on the fact that there's a journey. It's not a one stop.
Yeah,
and I think anybody in business understands cost of acquisition versus retention or referral, right? So you're probably on the flip side saving money for these companies and the members, in the sense that they're not having to go out and constantly acquire new. Yeah. Wow. So that's on every angle. You're bringing value.
Absolutely. We'd like to think so anyway.
Yeah, I absolutely
and it looks like it based on the return, but
yes,
we can't just sit back and say our work is done. You have to keep looking for those new opportunities. We launched Boom Travel, for example, last April to much fanfare and huge success. And so we're continuing to innovate in that travel piece within the Boom platform to provide new and improved access to properties, hotels, more car rental places around the world, flights, bundling packages, cruises, you name it, we're adding it. And it's always going to be fresh and new. And that's been an exciting journey for the team and for me as well, this travel side of things. I just wish we could take advantage of more of the travel stuff ourselves.
Yeah. I've been watching that digital nomad going, what country would I go live in? What country would I think there's like 54 countries in the EU now that have digital nomad visas.
Do they? I didn't know that. Actually, that's interesting.
So I'm like going,
I wonder if I could have one of those.
Yeah. So,
because as you say, we can work remotely now.
And that's the beauty, and having that community, the community that Boom Group provides as a continuity for people no matter where they are and what they're doing. That's incredible.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Thanks.
I thank you very much, Laureen, for coming in. And, I really like the fact that you're focused in on the value of community, value of the dollar, value of the service. And I think that any of our young professionals, we have an amazing young professional group here at the CPC that do listen to what Laureen is saying around no matter what industry you're in or whatever service you're providing, it has to have value all the way around.
It does. I always say to the team when they're creating something, what's in it for the reader? So whoever's going to see this, whoever's going to receive this or listen to it or hear it, watch it. What's in it for them? You have to always put it on the lens of the customer. And I think that that's something they've done really well too.
Thank you, Laureen.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the Back to Business podcast. Be sure to visit calpeteclub.com, CalPeteclub.com, to find out more about upcoming events, networking opportunities, and membership. If you are not already a valued member at the CPC, where we are proudly connecting and supporting Calgary's business leaders.